Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to the General Hospital spoilers on Tuesday, June 3rd, we will hear Sonny Corinthos' apologies and Rick Lansing's urgent phone call. Here's what GH fans should anticipate. Jocelyn Jacks will also be saved when someone stands up for her. Jordan Ashford and Jen Sidwell will first praise Professor Henry Hank Dalton for his groundbreaking concepts on Tuesday's GH episode before Jordan spends some time with him one-on-one. Jocelyn's defender on Tuesday's episode will be Trina Robinson. Trina may defend Jocelyn if Emma Scorpio Drake begins to level charges regarding her sabotage as a research assistant. Fans of GH are aware that Jocelyn actually did undermine Emma and take her place, but only because she had to finish her WSB assignment no matter what. Now that Dante Falconeri is aware that Giovanni Gio Palmieri is his son, he will confide in Sonny about all of his difficult feelings. Presumably as a result of their own difficult path to a father-son bond, Dante will express regret to Sonny. Dante will confide in Sonny and seek advice now that he has a better grasp of Sonny's perspective. Sonny will have the opportunity to talk about the Gio situation, Michael Corinthos' return, and the impending custody dispute when Jason Morgan connects with him later. Jason will then have to deal with some controversy around Carly Spencer. Carly will maintain that she will stop at nothing to ensure that her grandchildren end up with Michael rather than Willow Corinthos. Naturally, Jason will urge Carly to exercise caution, because Michael's custody dispute has a lot on the line. Jason might encourage Carly to simply let Michael handle things with Diane Miller's help now that her son has returned. But at some point this week, Carly will reveal a big secret. Nina Reeves is the mastermind behind Drew Kane's drugging scheme. Marco Rios just alluded to money laundering charges, which Alexis Davis will address across town. Marco is obviously worried that Alexis is going too far, but he will apologize if he is going too far. Alexis might insist that everything is under control and pressure Marco to simply quit. Stay tuned for updates on any concerning news that may arise as a result of Marco's probing. On the phone, Rick will seem urgent and insist that someone go to the courthouse immediately. Given that he is going to deliver more orders to Alexis, it is probable that Rick will insist on meeting with her in person. However, if there is a blackmail hitch, Rick might call an Ava Jerome, or this could involve someone else involved in the custody chaos. Gio will intervene in the altercation that Brooklyn Quartermain has been having at the Quartermain residence with Lois and Gloria Cerullo while Willow and Michael are in court. Gio will stomp off to stew over the entire issue after grilling all three of them and voicing his opinions fiercely. After learning that Camilla Palmieri was terminally ill, Brooklyn will question Lois and Gloria about if they pressured her to remain silent. Gloria and Lois might have persuaded Camilla to keep his true parentage a secret if she had decided to confess to Gio. According to General Hospital teasers, Brooklyn will remain enraged by this betrayal of her family and hope that Gio would eventually show her his heart. The emergency call from Rick to Jocelyn's help. Rick Lansing's knuckles were white from the power of his grip on his phone during the tense night. His face's precise lines were highlighted by the screen's faint glow, creating shadows that reflected the chaos in his head. The situation weighed on him like a physical force, making every second that passed seem like an eternity. Only a few minutes had passed since he received the call, yet it was enough to hurl his entire world into disarray. Every instinct in his body begged him to take action now because Jocelyn was in peril. With the phone placed firmly against his ear, he paced the length of his flat, breathing in short, irregular bursts. Rick could hear the underlying urgency, the hidden need for quick action, even if the voice on the other end was composed and methodical. He knew when time was running short since he had experienced enough life-or-death situations. In every manner that mattered, Jocelyn was family, not just anybody. He could not handle the idea that something may happen to her. It was a nightmare he would not let to come true. "Where is she?" Rick's voice was low yet piercing as he ordered. A new surge of adrenaline rushed through his veins at the response. Although he had a location, it wasn't ideal. People would go to this deserted warehouse on the outskirts of town if they didn't want to be discovered, or if they didn't want their victims to be discovered. His thoughts were constantly racing, figuring out the quickest path, possible dangers, and unknowns that could make this rescue attempt a complete failure. But there was no room for hesitation. That privilege was not available to Jocelyn. Then he reached for his jacket and jerked his arms through the sleeves. He already had his revolver in its holster, a comfortable weight on his side. He wasn't foolish enough to enter unarmed, but he also didn't intend to use it. Rick wasn't going to undervalue the dangerous individuals who had taken Jocelyn. They weren't amateurs. His foot was heavy on the pedal as he swerved through traffic, making the drive to the warehouse a blur. He was thinking incoherently, a mixture of terror and resolve. His thoughts were filled with flashbacks of Jocelyn, her humor, her obstinacy, and the way she never backs down. Despite her might, everyone had their limitations. Rick wouldn't let her deal with whatever it was she was dealing with at the moment. He killed the engine as he approached the warehouse, his heart thumping more loudly in the unexpected calm. Ahead, the building loomed, its crumbling walls and damaged windows bearing witness to years of neglect. Isolated, forgotten, and out of sight, it was the ideal setting for a kidnapping. Rick's jaw tensed as he looked about, his trained eyes identifying possible openings and dangers. He had no room for error. Not right now. His body tensed with anticipation. He moved quickly but discreetly to the side entrance. He could see a glimmer of darkness calling him inside, and the door was slightly open. His senses sharp, he paused only a moment before slipping through. The interior was far worse than he had anticipated. The floor was covered in debris, the air was heavy with dust, and there was a subtle metallic smell of blood. The idea of what Jocelyn might have gone through here made his stomach turn. Then from farther within the warehouse, he heard it, a muffled sound. A voice. The voice of Jocelyn. Before his mind could properly register the sound, his body began to move, and his pulse began to spike. His strides were cautious yet frantic as he followed the noise, every muscle tensed with anticipation. Her voice grew clearer as he approached. Despite the dread that surely lingered beneath the surface, she was arguing with someone in a combative tone. That was Jocelyn, never giving up even when things got dangerous. After turning a corner, Rick eventually caught sight of her. Jocelyn's face was damaged, but her eyes were flaming with rage, and she was strapped to a chair with her wrists chained behind her back. Rick knew the man standing over her right away. He was an old foe of Sonny Corinthos, a man who harbored resentment and had nothing left to lose. The parts came together with a click. This was retaliation, plain and clear. It wasn't just any kidnapping. The man was still concentrating on Jocelyn, taunting her with a voice full of hate, and hadn't noticed Rick yet. Rick didn't hold out. He moved forward with ease, leveling his rifle at the man's head and drawing it. With an icy tone, Rick stated, "Let her go. Now." His eyes widened in surprise and then narrowed into a sneer as the man froze. "Lansing, I should have anticipated your arrival." "Last warning," snarled Rick. The room was silent for a moment, the tension so heavy it was oppressive. Then the man lifted his hands in surrender and muttered a curse. Not until Jocelyn was securely bound and stood next to him, her body shaking but her spirit unwavering, did Rick drop his revolver. "Are you all right?" With the tinge of anxiety still present behind the words, Rick asked in a calmer tone. Jocelyn's fingers tightened around his arm as she nodded. "Thank you." Rick remained silent. Later, when they were well out of sight and he was certain she was secure, there would be time for words. Getting her out of here was the only thing that mattered at the moment. The burden on Rick's shoulders didn't quite go away when they ventured out into the darkness. This was not the end of it. Rick knew that this was not the end of the story. The man who had taken Jocelyn was only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Jocelyn was safe for the time being though, and that was plenty. There was less noise on the journey back, and the excitement gradually subsided, leaving behind a bone-deep tiredness. Leaning against the window, Jocelyn's eyes were far away but brimming with the fire that had always characterized her. Rick continued to focus on the road, already planning the next course of action. Who was responsible, what was their ultimate goal, and how to ensure that Jocelyn was never in danger like this again. Because he knew that before he allowed anything to happen to her, Rick Lansing would burn the entire globe to the ground. Social media erupted with debates, some condemning Nina as a master manipulator, others defending her as a victim of character assassination. The public, always hungry for scandal, dissected every detail, forming factions that mirrored the divisions inside the courtroom. Back in the trial, Carly's gamble began to pay off. A surprise witness, a former associate of Nina's, came forward with damning testimony, alleging that Nina had bragged about controlling Drew. The witness's credibility was immediately attacked by the defense, but the impact was undeniable. The jury's expressions shifted from skepticism to grim consideration. As the day's proceedings drew to a close, the judge announced that the trial would resume after a short recess, leaving the courtroom in a state of suspended tension. Carly exhaled, her hands trembling now that the adrenaline was fading. She had thrown the first stone, and there was no turning back. Drew, still reeling, locked eyes with Nina across the room, searching for any sign of remorse. But her gaze was cold, unyielding. The truth was still obscured by shadows, but one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same between them. Whether Nina was guilty or innocent, Carly's accusation had shattered the fragile illusions that had held their world together. And as the battle for justice raged on, the real question remained. Who would be left standing when the dust finally settled? Jocelyn Jacks and Tracy Quartermain are among them, and they will both destroy Willow. Harrison Chase will testify as well. Given how well known this case is, all of the witnesses will be subjected to challenging questions. Willow and Michael both desire their kids. Michael actually leaps to his feet and rushes to Sasha in the witness box. With a distressed expression, Sasha informs him that the kid is on the way. If Sasha's baby has the same congenital heart problem as Michael, the truth might be revealed at the hospital if it isn't already. Exposing Nina Reeves. Carly, who tells Drew who drugged him, will also be there. Carly knows Nina was at fault, but she doesn't know Jacinda. When Carly reveals Nina to Drew and the rest of the court in the preview video, Nina's mouth falls open. Portia Robinson may be the next to be removed as a result of this. What does that signify for Portia's future in medicine? In the week of June 2, 2025, which narrative are you most excited to see? The most recent General Hospital spoilers for Monday, June 2 to Friday, June 6 are available on soaps.com. Brooke Lynn lashes out just when we thought she could get much more irate. In addition, Nina has a confession to make as Carly confronts Jason. Continue reading for that and more Port Charles drama. In today's recap, Brooke Lynn snaps at Lois and Gloria, Gio looks to Sunny for clarification, and Elizabeth forgives Lucky for not telling her the truth about her accident. Elizabeth discovers something. Christina and Michael get back together. Brooke Lynn lets loose her rage. In the hot seat is Alexis. Sunny gives advice. With her problems behind her, ex-Molly is ready for a comeback, and it's never too late to start over. Spoilers for Tuesday, June 3 on General Hospital. The hearing for Michael and Willow's divorce starts. Sunny confides in Jason. Trina stands up for Jocelyn. Rick gives Alexis a hard hand. Jordan gets to know Dalton better. Meet the new Mrs. Jack Wagner, the General Hospital vet who vows "I do" before the return of Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers for Wednesday, June 4 on General Hospital. Lulu and Brooke Lynn meet in person. Elizabeth is taken by surprise by Lucky. Michael stands up. Chad Duell prepares for a return as spectacular as Michael's. Brennan is under pressure from Anna. Sunny and Laura talk about family issues. Thursday, June 5 spoilers for General Hospital. Lucky must face a harsh reality. Anna tells Jason about her suspicions. A family get-together is hosted by Curtis and Portia. Sasha feels overburdened. Willow gets to work. Friday, June 6 spoilers for General Hospital. Jason is confronted by Carly. Molly and Cody become more acquainted. Jordan meets with Curtis. Nina admits something. Drew is devastated. According to General Hospital spoilers, many viewers genuinely think that Michael and Sasha are endgame, and for good reason. For all the information you require, continue reading below. Sasha and Michael are endgame. Sasha was the one who pushed for Michael and Willow to be married in order to shield Wiley from Nell. As many critics of the popular ABC soap opera have noted, that was how much she adored Michael. Furthermore, it's likely that Willow and Chase have been in love for a long time. She may have loved Michael as a friend, but she wasn't in love with him. Their relationship was simply intense. The internet had a lot to say about the issue on social media, as our readers are likely already aware. Michael and Sasha in a sweet happy ending for both, is one statement that several people have made. And she is already loved and appreciated by all the QS, unlike Willow. It would also help with Carly and Nina's management. She is near both of them. What will happen to Michael and Sasha next? According to General Hospital spoilers on Tuesday, June 3rd, Alexis Davis provides a money laundering solution, while Jason Morgan will deal with the Carly Spencer dilemma. There will be a lot going on for Willow Corinthos, Michael Corinthos, and many other characters in the Port Charles area when the divorce hearing also begins. First of all, because Brooke Lynn Quartermain's altercation with Lois and Gloria Cerullo was cut short by Giovanni Gio Palmieri, there will be more turmoil at the Quartermain mansion. He will have a lot to comprehend after Gio starts asking questions and making charges, and he will probably want to do it by himself. Lois and Gloria will be questioned by Brooke Lynn in the interim over whether they coerced a dying woman into keeping their secret. Although Gloria and Lois could have cautioned against it, it sounds like Camilla Palmieri wanted to tell Gio the truth after becoming ill. After that, Professor Henry Hank Dalton will speak with Jordan Ashford and Jen Sidwell about his plans to transform the world. As they become more acquainted, Jordan will also have some private time with Professor Dalton, so they might flirt while Jordan asks him questions about the research he's working on. Alexis Davis will question whether Marco Rios is asking her if she is money laundering at the law office. Marco is undoubtedly dubious of what's actually happening now that he has found out the Shell Corporation arrangement. Marco may reassure her that he understands how to be discreet and that he will assist in any manner he can, but Alexis will undoubtedly not reveal too much. Jason will have to deal with his own crisis while Alexis answers Marco's and attempts to manage her most recent one. Jason might be concerned about the boundaries Carly would violate in order to get her grandchildren away from Willow, but she will promise to do whatever it takes to do so. Jason may remind Carly that Michael has returned and that, with Diane Miller's assistance, he must be the one handling the problem. Dante Falconeri will apologize to him at Sonny Corinthos' house. Dante will have a better understanding of Sonny's viewpoint now that he knows what it's like to discover he has a grown son he never knew existed. It appears that when their own father-son bond emerged, Dante will wish he had handled things differently. On Tuesday's GH episode, Sonny will also get the opportunity to confide in Jason, and they will discuss all the Gio updates and the news of Michael's arrival. Trina Robinson will find herself in a position where she feels compelled to jump to Jocelyn Jack's defense. If there is further confrontation between Emma Scorpio Drake and Jocelyn, that might entail defending Jocelyn. Regarding Rick Lansing, he will call and advise someone to come to the courthouse immediately. Will Rick be calling someone else or attempting to hurry Nina Reeves along? Rick may force Alexis to meet with him prior to the divorce and custody hearings. As General Hospital spoilers indicate, he may coerce her on Tuesday's show. Until she can turn Ava Jerome and Rick against one another, Alexis will continue to be mired in chaos. As Jason Morgan becomes entangled in a growing situation involving Carly Corinthos, the lives of the people of Port Charles are once again thrown into disarray. As a highly anticipated divorce court gets underway, long-buried truths could be revealed, and Alexis Davis risks severe legal ramifications due to accusations of money laundering. High-stakes drama, intense emotional conflicts, and potentially life-altering outcomes are all promised by these interwoven narratives. Jason's crisis with Carly. Carly Corinthos' most loyal ally has always been Jason Morgan, but their unbreakable friendship is currently being put to the test like never before. Carly, who has a fiery temper and makes snap decisions, has once again put herself in a dangerous predicament that even Jason might find difficult to resolve. Although the precise nature of the problem is still unknown, rumors circulating Port Charles indicate that it involves hostile adversaries who may be connected to the criminal underworld. Jason has been Carly's protector for years, keeping her safe from the consequences of her machinations. But the danger might be too high this time. According to rumors, Carly's recent behavior has caught the notice of a formidable foe, who has the means and the ruthlessness to destroy her meticulously planned existence. Carly's decisions have endangered not only herself but also those closest to her, whether it was a botched business deal, a betrayal by a purported ally, or a careless gamble that backfired. Ever the devoted enforcer, Jason must negotiate perilous seas. He is in a unique position to step in because of his ties to both legal and illegal networks, but even he might not be able to do it this time. His relationship with Carly could be strained as a result of the crisis, because her disregard for warnings could have permanent repercussions. Jason's old friend and Carly's ex-husband, Sonny Corinthos, observes from the sidelines, unsure whether to intervene or let Carly deal with the consequences of her behavior. Jason has to determine whether protecting Carly would cost him everything, and how far he's ready to go as tensions rise. The money laundering scandal of Alexis. Alexis Davis is the target of a federal inquiry in another area of Port Charles. The once respected lawyer, who is renowned for her steadfast morals and keen legal mind, is facing money laundering charges that could put her in jail and ruin her career. Her affiliation with a well-known client whose activities were significantly below the law is the basis for the accusations. Alexis maintains her innocence, saying she had no knowledge of any illegal activity. Prosecutors contend that she either willfully ignored suspicious activity or intentionally enabled unlawful activities. Financial documents and witness statements that point to a pattern of collaboration are among the devastating evidence against her. The legal world has been rocked by the controversy, which has damaged Alexis's reputation and caused her to drift apart from her erstwhile supporters. Molly and Sam, her daughters, struggle with the idea that their mother might have breached the law, while also wanting to support her. The issue is especially unpleasant for Sam, who has a checkered past with the law. Molly, who also aspires to become a lawyer, finds it difficult to balance her respect for her mother with the gravity of the charges. Alexis has to face the prospect that her freedom and job may be at jeopardy as the probe gets more intense. If she has been framed, her only chance may be to discover the truth about the plot. However, it will be difficult for her to prove her innocence because of strong forces against her. Hearing for divorce starts. A long-awaited divorce hearing begins amid these legal and personal upheavals, promising to reveal secrets that some would rather keep hidden. Although the divorced couple's names have not been formally established, there is a lot of conjecture. While some imagine it involves another well-known Port Charles couple, others think it might be the final breakup of Carly and Sonny's turbulent marriage. In Port Charles, divorce procedures are never easy. Private complaints are frequently transformed into public spectacles by court battles over assets, custody agreements, and concealed infidelity. Both parties are ready for a fierce battle, and this instance is no different. The hearing may rekindle old scars if Carly and Sonny are involved in the divorce. There may be no turning back now, but their love has been a wild one filled with passion, treachery, and reconciliation. The split of their commercial interests alone would destabilize the Corinthos empire and have far-reaching effects. On the other hand, the aftermath can be equally dramatic if the hearing involves another pair, like Elizabeth Weber and Finn, or Nina Reeves and Valentine Cassadine. There is plenty of material for a heated court dispute because of Nina's recent plots, Valentine's manipulations, Elizabeth's mental instability, and Finn's battles with addiction. Whatever the case, the divorce hearing will surely reveal long-hidden facts and make everyone responsible for their conduct face the repercussions. In conclusion, with Jason's last-ditch efforts to save Carly, Alexis' struggle for her freedom, and a potentially life-altering divorce court, Port Charles is once again a dramatizing place. Although each plot line has its own significance, taken as a whole, they create a tapestry of loyalty, atonement, and betrayal. Jason has to face the boundaries of his power as he works to handle Carly's problem in a hurry. Alexis, on the other hand, knows that failing may mean losing everything, therefore she must fight for her life to cleanse her name. Additionally, long-kept truths could irreparably ruin relationships as the divorce case progresses. One thing is certain. The events set in motion by these crises will leave no one unaffected in a town where alliances change like the wind and danger lurks around every turn. Who will survive the fallout is the only question. Willow was quick to move into Drew's new house, with her and Michael Corinthos' kids in tow, and Nina and Carly desperately tried to work together to split them apart. Sadly, their partnership was short-lived, but not without Nina spilling to Carly that she was the one behind Drew's recent ketamine scandal that rocked the little town. Whatever page they had once landed on was shredded to bits after threats were issued and punches were thrown. The two also had a heated confrontation during the nurses' ball in the bathroom, where Nina was quick to gloat about the fact that Michael wouldn't win sole custody of the kids, due to his accident. Michael submitted an emergency petition to gain custody of his kids, and was able to take his children out of Willow's care ahead of the custody battle. This was a huge score for #Team Michael, but considering there's that secret lingering about Michael being Sasha Corbin's baby daddy, nothing is in the bag right now. During the GH preview for the week of June 2nd, a clip shows Carly declaring that Nina was the one who had Drew drugged. Rick Lansing can be seen in the courtroom background, and this spilling of the tea will only cause drama and chaos within Willow's world. It may also look horrible for Willow, if it is included as evidence. It may seem as if everyone in the mom's orbit is toxic and unhinged. Whether Carly spilled to help Michael gain an upper hand in the custody hearing, help Tracy Quartermaine get off on her charges, or it's because she simply wanted revenge on Nina, this will finally be out in the open. Little do both ladies realize that Drew was already in the loop all along. With that said, this isn't the worst secret that Nina has when it comes to Drew, so will their affair also surface at some point in the days ahead? The courtroom was tense as Carly dropped a bombshell revelation that left everyone in shock. Nina had drugged Drew. The air grew thick with disbelief as the words echoed through the hushed room, each syllable carrying the weight of a scandal that could unravel lives. Spectators leaned forward in their seats, reporters scrambled to jot down notes, and even the judge seemed momentarily stunned by the gravity of the accusation. Carly stood firm, her voice steady but laced with fury as she presented evidence that Nina had deliberately tampered with Drew's drink, leaving him incapacitated and vulnerable. For months, Drew's erratic behavior had been a source of confusion and concern among those closest to him. His sudden mood swings, unexplained disappearances, and uncharacteristic decisions had baffled his friends and family. Many had speculated that stress or personal demons were to blame, but no one had suspected foul play, until now. Carly's testimony painted a chilling picture of manipulation, suggesting that Nina had orchestrated Drew's downfall for her own gain. The implications of Carly's claim were staggering. If true, Nina's actions were not just unethical but criminal, raising questions about her motives and the extent of her deception. Had she acted alone? Or was someone else pulling the strings? What did she stand to gain from Drew's impairment? The courtroom buzzed with whispered theories as the legal team scrambled to respond. Nina's attorney immediately objected, calling the accusation baseless and inflammatory, but the damage was done. The seed of doubt had been planted, and the trial took on a new, darker tone. As the proceedings continued, flashbacks of Drew's recent struggles played out in the minds of those who knew him. His once sharp instincts had dulled, his judgment clouded at critical moments. Business deals had fallen apart, relationships had strained, and his reputation had taken a hit, all while Nina had been a constant presence in his life, offering support that now seemed suspiciously calculated. Had she been his confidant or his puppet master? Carly's decision to expose Nina in open court was a risky move, one that could either vindicate Drew or backfire spectacularly. She had no concrete proof, at least not yet, but her instincts told her that Nina was behind Drew's sudden decline. The two women had never been allies, their rivalry simmering beneath the surface for years, but this was no petty feud. This was about justice. If Nina had indeed drugged Drew, she needed to be held accountable before she could do more damage. The prosecution called witnesses to corroborate Carly's claims, presenting timelines and medical records that suggested Drew's condition was not natural. A toxicology report revealed traces of a sedative in his system, one that matched a prescription linked to Nina's past. The defense countered with expert testimony, arguing that the drug could have been ingested accidentally or prescribed by another physician, but the circumstantial evidence was mounting. As the trial unfolded, Drew himself struggled to process the revelation. Fragmented memories resurfaced, moments of confusion, unexplained fatigue, and Nina's face hovering at the edges of his consciousness. Had she been there every time he lost control? The thought sickened him. If Carly was right, then his trust had been weaponized against him in the cruelest way possible. Meanwhile, Nina maintained her composure, her expression unreadable as the accusations flew. She denied any wrongdoing, her voice calm but firm. Yet those who knew her well detected a flicker of unease, a slight tremble in her hands, a hesitation before answering certain questions. Was it guilt, or merely the pressure of being publicly vilified? Outside the courtroom, the media frenzy intensified. Headlines screamed about betrayal and deception, turning the trial into a national spectacle.